Alon Goren's also with us. Look at that. He's up there from Draper Goren Blockchain. Your partners for decentralized future. That sounds political and it sounds scary. If we were not talking about something financial, I would say that sounds like something I don't want to be near. Other than that, hey, let's talk about the latest here. Do you guys even use the word cryptocurrency anymore, or is it all about blockchain now?
Yeah, we do within the conversation, but blockchain is really the key word. And like we've talked in the past, even that word is going to be more talked about when it comes to back-end infrastructure. In my mind, it's all just digitization or modernizing technology.
Alon, the fact that we're even thinking in terms of the name is going to change and it's moving along at the heat of speed, is the blockchain as well morphing and changing quick?
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely there's more use cases, and there are more blockchains, but they're more like, purpose built. So, different applications are better for different, actions, right?
Hey, Alon, how are you? Good to see you. Are we seeing bigger institutions and more industries adopting this and making it something that more people are going to want to get on board with?
Absolutely. So there's a bunch of drivers of it, right? Like the institutions are realizing that it's more efficient for them. It will unlock more revenue streams and opportunities. And, as much as we like to talk about, the government kind of getting in the way of things and technology needing to kind of face those hurdles, there's been some changes. Like there was the Genius Act that passed that made it legal and made a framework for institutions that want to hold stable coins on their balance sheet for every single dollar they have in treasury. So there's back-end opportunities for those institutions that we will all benefit from as the customers.
Is this stuff still in the gray area in terms of regulation, Alon?
In some ways, yes, but it's in the United States, there's more and more regulation that's making it more clear. I think that it's definitely a completely different world than a few years ago when you would turn on the siren sound when I mentioned the word crypto or blockchain, but it's definitely better, right? And then the big institutions who, let's face it, are a big driver of what changes regulation are participating, right? So in one of our biggest companies, Onera, JP Morgan is a co-investor with us in the company. I don't think JP Morgan is investing in this stuff if they don't believe it's going to be around a few years from now.
Because the real world issue is, it seems like there's an us and there's a them. There's the folks that actually are in this world every day like you, and then there's the rest of us saying, well, I think it's coming, but our real world is basically still our regular investments, a regular checking account, a regular ATM card, so on and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, but the beauty of it is, we talked about this in the case of mortgages, but it works for any other company. Just what I mentioned before, the Genius Act means that if a company is holding money in their treasury, which they broaden the sense of the word money, they include U.S. treasuries in there. So if a bank is holding U.S. treasuries, which they earn a few percentage points on, and then they can hold a stable coin for each one of those dollars in U.S. treasuries, it means that they can probably double or more if they want to be risky, but most probably wouldn't be risky in utilizing those stable coins. So all of a sudden, if a bank or any institution that holds cash on their balance sheet, we know the banks hold a lot less than maybe what we think they do, but no matter what they're holding, if they could double their margins or double the amount of interest they're receiving on it, then they'll potentially be more profitable, but also they hopefully will sell those products to the consumer at a better rate, or maybe even, maybe our savings account will earn less than, 0.01% interest in the future.
Alon Goren, otherwise known as the Mensch of Menlo Park, with us here, founding partner of Draper Goren Blockchain. Alon, BlackRock, Fidelity, you mentioned JP Morgan. I mean, the big boys and girls are obviously involved with this. Is it a situation, though, where, man, you better be getting into it now, especially those folks who are still using fax machines and stuff like that?
Absolutely. I think that, one of the opportunities we've actually discussed with our portfolio companies is there's weird regulations out there. There's these institutional kind of barriers that stop new companies from coming in and competing. Those things are a challenge, but they're also a moat once you get in past it. So I think those institutions definitely need to be building technology, making their processes more streamlined, because if not, a startup is going to come and do it, and they're going to have a future choice, which is buy that company or potentially lose a lot of market share or have one of their competitors buy that company. And so, Fidelity was ahead of the curve. Fidelity, of all of the Bitcoin ETFs and all those groups, they're the only ones that were actually mining their own Bitcoin, were actually holding their own Bitcoin themselves without paying a majority of their profits or fees right back to Coinbase or one of the others to do it for them. So the people who come in early, there's already examples of how coming in early could potentially make you more profitable. So, and for us, the consumer, I don't think we care that much, right? We just want the best service at the best price.
Alon, are you still thinking, or is there still a pervasive attitude that Bitcoin is a hedge against inflation?
Absolutely. It's I think people just consider it digital gold in that sense, right? We might not be in that world where we truly believe it's going to create the perfect world and freedom from the big institutions and things like that. I think they've co-opted it too much, or maybe I'm just being cynical today. But at the end of the day, it is like gold, kind of beating inflation. And no matter what country you're in, too, it's a currency that's not your government currency. So if you are in a country that has worse inflation than ours, like Japan, you could be holding Bitcoin. And yes, Bitcoin is correlated because it is one of everyone's most liquid assets, right? So if shit hits the fan, if you get scared, you might go and sell your Bitcoin because you want dollars in the bank. And that's a sign that it's maturing and that you can easily access the value in it. But it is beating inflation. It is tracked like gold, and it's digital and easier to consume and deal with than gold is.
Hey, Alon, are there other countries that are adopting at a quicker pace or have this thing nailed more than we do?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I shouldn't say most, but a lot of the developing world or developed world, places like Japan, places even like in the UK, they created a digital sandbox with some rules and regulations that let people feel more comfortable before we did in the United States. But we're catching up. And you know what? Like, as a born and raised Californian and American, I love the idea of things being made in America. But every day that goes by, it matters to our phone and our pocketbook less and less, because it's a global world. We have access to products all over the world. If US does slack as a country, we'll lose startups building here, but we won't lose the products because we'll still get the best products in the world.
Alon Goren, founding partner, Draper Goren Blockchain. Always smarter, we here on the show are, after we talk with him about the blockchain.